Hello and welcome to the evening news. My name is Dino. And here is the stories. Jahshii asks for protection. Despite his recent troubles, dancehall artist Jahshii has decided to dust himself off and focus on redemption. On his latest single, Protection, which is produced by producer Rajal, the embattled DJ reflects on his life experiences, while acknowledging that the creator has a higher purpose for him. Freshman Brilliant is also featured on the single, which is scheduled for release on Friday. I've been down this road before, but Jah protect me, said Jahshii in the song, which also tackles fake friends, bad mind and betrayal. Despite what I have been through in my life and the unfortunate situations that have occurred, I know that there is a true God, and I look to him for guidance and protection, said Jahshii. The entertainer and his entourage were attacked earlier this month by gunmen, who shot up the vehicle in which they were traveling. Jahshii was unhurt, but members of his group were injured. Freshman Brilliant said the song is relatable for him as well. The inspiration behind the song is just the things that Jahshii is actually going through right now, and I've been down that road before, so it was coming from life experience, said Freshman Brilliant. Protection is the latest single from producer Rajal, who recently teamed up with DeMarco on the song Charge Fire, and with TJ on Faith. Said producer Rajal, "It was a pleasure working with both artists, Jahshii and Freshman Brilliant, on this track. They're both talented and have had similar life experiences, which allow them to speak from the heart and add pure emotions to the track. I am confident that this song will motivate the world to overcome and persevere." Men accused of killing suspected goat thief in mob attack get bail. 2 men accused of being part of last month's mob killing of an alleged goat thief in Old Harbor, St. Catherine, were today offered $500,000 bail each when they appeared in the Spanish Town Parish Court. Jim Roy Smith, otherwise called Al, and Rushane Freeman, otherwise called Dada, of North Street, Old Harbor, St. Catherine, were offered bail on charges of murder and conspiracy. They were given reporting conditions. The duo were charged in connection with the mob killing of Jason Davis, otherwise called Tubby, and Kevin, a laborer of Bottles Crescent, Old Harbor. Allegations are that they were among other men who were seen by an eyewitness chasing, beating and chopping Davis to death after he was accused of predeal larceny. However, during the bail hearing today, their lawyers raised issues of credibility and identification. Attorney-at-law Akeem Harris, who is representing Freeman, submitted that his client was wrongly accused, while Smith's lawyer, Kamar Robinson, told the judge that his client was present on the day of the incident, but he was never involved in the fatal attack. Smith had given the police a statement in which he indicated that Davis had chopped wounds in his head and on his hand and that he was admitted for 7 days after he was taken to the hospital. Both lawyers also submitted that their clients had cooperated with the police and were not a flight risk, noting that they surrendered to the police after hearing that they were suspects. They both complied with the police's investigation and denied any involvement in Davis's death, the lawyers stated. The matter will next be mentioned on September 13. UWI mourns death of one of its first students. The University of the West Indies community is mourning the loss of one of its first students, Dame Dr. Ruby Lake Richards, who died earlier this week at age 101. Dame Ruby was one of 2 remaining members of the first cohort of 33 medical students who attended the UWI, then University College of the West Indies. She was also the first female UWI graduate from Antigua and Barbuda and was honored with an honorary Doctor of Science degree from the UWI Five Islands campus. Dame Ruby was regarded as one of Antigua and Barbuda's outstanding medical professionals. She started her journey in 1948, pursuing medicine at the University College of the West Indies. Of that inaugural class, she was one of 10 women enrolled. She earned her medical degree in 1954 and then moved on to an internship at the Holberton Hospital in St. John's, Antigua. Next, she alternated between the Carty's Hill Clinic in Glanvilles, where she worked as a parish doctor, and her private practice, which she opened in the city. In 1967, she migrated to Canada with her husband Sir Neville Hamilton Richards, where she pursued her postgraduate study and completed her specialization in child and adolescent psychiatry at McGill University. In 1977, she received her fellowship in the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada. She also worked at the Reddy Memorial Hospital and the Montreal Children's Hospital in Canada before completing her residency in child and adolescent psychiatry at McGill University. At McGill, she was employed as a lecturer assigned to the Department of Psychiatry, which she combined with her role as a psychiatrist at the Douglas Mental Health University for nearly 40 years. She retired in 2015 at the age of 93. In 2021, at a special convocation hosted by the UWI Five Islands campus, she was conferred an honorary degree, the first honorary doctorate given by the campus. Later that year, she was also honored by the government of Antigua and Barbuda with the Dame Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of the Nation, DGCN, for her outstanding contribution to the field of medicine. Extending his sympathy, Vice-Chancellor of the UWI, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles said, "This is a deep loss for our community. Dame Ruby was a cherished icon who lived a life of service here in the Caribbean and internationally, an attribute of a true UWI graduate. The university and region are at a loss from her passing. Our only solace is that we were able to bestow her flowers and celebrate her while she was alive." Farm workers leave for Canada. 42 farm workers left the island today for Canada, to take up employment opportunities in Ontario and Nova Scotia. The customary send-off ceremony was held for the workers at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's Overseas Employment Services Centre, downtown Kingston. Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. reminded the workers that they are ambassadors of the country when they go overseas. "Sometimes we have our farm workers go to Canada or to the United States. Anybody you interact with, anybody who has never been to Jamaica and speaks to you will say to themselves, 'This is what Jamaica is, this is how Jamaicans are,' and they will decide how they feel about the country based on what they see in you," Charles Jr. said. "If you work hard and you do well, you go up there and you remember what our granny and our mothers teach us, then they will say to themselves, 'Jamaica is a place I want to get more workers from,'" he added. Charles Jr. also warned the workers not to go to Canada with the wrong focus, as they will not be good ambassadors. "I want to implore you all to be good ambassadors for your country, for your community, and for yourself, and I want to wish you all the best," he said. He also informed that the ministry has provided the workers with a document informing them of their rights. The Overseas Employment Program, administered by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, facilitates the selection and recruitment of workers who participate in programs in the United States and Canada. The ministry has been doing so since 1953. The program provides employment for Jamaican workers in various fields, including the agricultural and hospitality industries. Police checking cemeteries after the discovery of 8 skulls. The Trelawney police are now making checks with local cemeteries regarding possible unauthorized exhumations after what appears to be 8 charred human skulls were discovered in a bushy area of Coral Springs in the parish on Tuesday. Police in the parish discovered the remains about 6:15 p.m., Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Area 1, Vernon Ellis, told the Gleaner. He said it appeared the skulls were dumped and burned at the location. The area is an illegal dumping site for garbage. Crime scene investigators removed the skulls and they were later handed over to a government-contracted funeral home, pending examination and further investigations. Ellis said there were no other remains, no clothing, or anything to suggest that the skulls were not dumped at the location. "We are conducting searches of local cemeteries in the area to see if there were any unauthorized exhumation in and around Trelawney," he noted. Award-winning chef Dennis McIntosh has died. Chef Dennis McIntosh, who led kitchens at several of the world's leading hotels in a career that spanned more than 3 decades, has died. McIntosh passed Thursday morning at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital with his wife Bev by his side. He had been ailing for some time. The recipient of the prestigious Chairman's Award at the 2019 staging of the Jamaica Observer Table Talk Food Awards, McIntosh was a well-respected culinarian who used every opportunity from Siboney to Boscobel, Moon Palace, and the Ritz-Carlton to lift the next generation of aspiring chefs. The Jamaican-born, British-trained McIntosh's menus were infused with a love of country and a passion for food. The earliest sign of his culinary greatness was a pie-making contest at primary school. He advanced his skills at the Henley College of Further Education in the UK, before setting upon a culinary path that took him across the world including Germany, England, the United States, and Bermuda. For over 2 decades, McIntosh was president and team coach of the Culinary Federation of Jamaica, where he championed the development of local cooks and chefs. Judged to pay $16 million to a former employee injured on the job. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, Limited is to pay one of its former auto mechanics a Supreme Court award of more than $16 million with interest for injuries she sustained on the job. She reportedly slipped and fell in oil spilled in a poorly lit pit at a garage at the Portmore Depot, in St. Catherine in October 2016. Josette Mills MC Lardy, who suffered spinal injuries as a result of the fall, sued the company in 2018 seeking damages. The matter was set down for assessment of damages. The claimant, who was represented by attorney-at-law Clifton Campbell, instructed by Archer Cummings and Company, said she ceased working with the company in August 2019 because of the injuries. Justice Andrea Pettigrew Collins assessed damages and made an award last month of more than $23 million in damages but reduced the amount by 30% on account of the claimant's contributory negligence. The defendant is to pay 70% of legal costs to the claimant. The judge found that on the evidence presented before the court, the claimant had on a balance of probabilities, established some of the allegations of negligence and breaches of the Employers' Liability Act and the Occupiers' Liability Act as were set out in the particulars of claim. The evidence as it stood at the end of the case regarding the lighting in the pit, was that there was one bulb that was working although the area was made to accommodate 4 bulbs, the judge said. The judge found that the lighting provided was inadequate, therefore, it was established that the defendant failed to provide a safe place of work. In handing down the ruling, the judge said she rejected the evidence of one of the witnesses for the defendant that the bulb was fully functional and accepted the evidence of the claimant that there were 2 buses over the pit at the time and the bulb was not fully lit. My finding is that the area was not sufficiently lit, the judge ruled. The judge said further that from the evidence, it emerged the claimant saw the oil on the floor of the pit, prior to the fall. The defendant, which was represented by attorney-at-law Leslie Campbell, instructed by attorney-at-law Kimberly Dobson, had admitted that it was an expressed and or implied term of the contract of employment to provide a safe place of work for the claimant. The company stated that it discharged its duty by maintaining a procedure for the daily cleaning of the pit by the janitorial staff and also ensured the use of protective equipment by all employees, including the claimant. The defendant in its amended defense contended that the claimant was negligent by failing to take adequate care while walking through the pit and denied that the pit was poorly lit. The judge referred to the medical evidence that the claimant was suffering from a thoracic spine impairment of 2% and a lumbar spine impairment of 21% of the whole person. She has several physical difficulties, which include walking and standing, and needed additional surgery. The claimant was awarded $6.2 million for the cost of future medical care, special damages of $708,771 with interest at 3% per annum from October 14, 2016, to the date of the judgment, $1.7 million for loss of earnings, $4 million for loss of future earnings, and $10.5 million with interest at 3% per annum from September 19, 2018, for general damages for pain and suffering and loss of amenities.